Hello everyone, I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful that you're subscribing, commenting, and appreciating the content I'm putting out there. And in this one, I wanted to answer one of the questions someone asked last time around. I'm sorry, I don't remember your name now. But it was something related to social anxiety and how they struggle with social anxiety, and they were just looking for some tips on how to deal with being social, because even though they're introverts like we all are, all the INFJs are, they still want to be social. And I think that's such a good step forward, because a lot of INFJs, they say, you know what, I'm an introvert, I love being an introvert, I want to be at home all the time, I don't want to be a social person, I don't want to talk to people, I just want to stay at home. And we have modes like that where we just go into our cave, we don't want to be social, we're like in I hate people mode. But I think it's a good idea to balance it with, I think I want to be a little bit social today. I want to go out and I want to meet people and I want to talk to people and I want to learn about people. Because if we are too introverted, if we spend too much time on our own, we can go a little bit crazy. We can go into our head too much, we can start thinking all these random thoughts, and it's also not good for us socially, it's not good for us mentally, it's not psychologically good for us. And longevity wise, they say that the less social you are, the less longer you live. So in general, it's not a good thing. I'm not saying that you should become extroverts. I'm saying that at least once a week or every 2 weeks or whatever works for you, you should go out and be social. But if you have social anxiety, which I did for the longest time, I had extreme social anxiety, extreme to the point that I could not even be around people without feeling like my heart's gonna beat out of my chest. And now I don't have that, thankfully. I'm not as socially anxious. I'm not saying that I'm perfectly okay going out into crowds and talking to people, but it is much better than how it was when I was younger. And how did that change? Well, of course, it's practice. And I know you're gonna hate me saying this, but it is all about putting yourself out there. Now, there's some tips you can use in order to make putting yourself out there a little bit easier. And so those are the things I'm gonna share in this video. So whenever you do go out, you're like setting up some social event, or you're going out to a networking thing, or you're going to an office party that is mandatory, you have to go to it, or whatever it might be. You're going out, you're hanging out with people. Perhaps these are people you know, perhaps they're people that you've never met before. And so what I would recommend, the first thing I'll recommend for you to do is to make sure that you eat well, drink enough water, try to get enough sleep, and generally take care of yourself the day before. Like I'm saying, in general, you should take care of yourself, but particularly if you're going to have a social event, make sure you sleep well the night before, you make sure you drink enough water in the daytime, make sure you have your proper meals, don't skip any meals, don't be like, oh my god, I'm not hungry, I can't eat. Make sure you eat properly, make sure you take care of yourself before going into the event, because it is extremely important to take care of yourself, to make sure you are on that energy level, so that you just don't go into the event and then droop down in 2 seconds because your social battery just fizzles out because you haven't been taking care of yourself. A lot of our social battery is related to our energy levels, and because INFJs are not good at taking care of ourselves, introverts in general, we don't know, when we should be eating. We don't realize we're thirsty. A lot of times I'll end up being dehydrated because I did not realize I hadn't had enough water throughout the day because I was so distracted by work. Or I'll skip a meal because I'm like, I'm not hungry. And then suddenly I feel this famished feeling that if I don't have something to eat right now, I could eat my own thumb. And so it's mainly because of the fact that we have a poor mind-body connection. We also get distracted, we get obsessed with things, we are in our project mode and we forget about the real world, we forget about physical bodies. All of these things affect the whole situation, but our social battery is definitely affected by our physical state. You might not think it's related, and a lot of INFJs are like, nah, it's not really, it's related, okay? I'm telling you it is. Because I know that when I take care of myself and I go into a social situation, I have had enough water, I've had enough food, I've slept well, I've taken care of myself, I haven't pushed myself too much, and then I go into a social situation, I feel good. I am not so tired that I can't even have one single conversation before wanting to run away. I know I've been in situations where I did not take care of myself. I did not eat enough food that day, and I did not drink enough water, and I was dehydrated, I was hungry, I was tired, I was thirsty. And I went into the social event and everyone looked like an enemy, and I did not want to talk to anyone. I did not have the energy to talk to anyone. Even one conversation just completely drained me. And then I just wanted to walk away from the whole situation. Whereas like I had been looking forward to this event for a long time, but because I hadn't taken care of myself, it ended up being that I did not actually enjoy the event at all. So that's the first tip I would give you. I know it's completely unrelated to social anxiety, it seems, but it is extremely related. Make sure you take care of yourself before you go into a social event. Even if it's a small one, make sure you take care of yourself. In general, make sure you take care of yourself, but particularly before these harrowing situations where we have to be social or we have to do something that's out of our comfort zone. Okay, so that's the first tip. Secondly, make sure that you try to find one-on-one situations in these social events. A lot of times what I will do is, obviously extroverts like to talk in groups. So, there are like 6 people talking to themselves and between each other, everyone's talking over each other, no one's listening to anyone. And I'm standing there thinking, what kind of conversation is this? Like, it's not conducive to me being happy in the situation. I don't like talking over other people. I don't like not being heard. And so what I'll do, I'll usually sneak out of these group situations and try to find a one-on-one situation. So if there's a person standing by themselves, having a drink or whatever they're doing, I will go up to them and I'll ask them something. Mostly, I will try to observe something about them and then bring in that piece of fact that I believe I know about them. I'll give you an example. I was at a house party once and I was sitting on the ground. There were 2-3 other people sitting around. There was this one person, beautiful girl, who was stretching. She was stretching her legs. And she had this long toned body. It was just gorgeous. She looked like a dancer. And in my head I was like, oh, is she a ballet dancer? And so I kind of opened up with that. I was like, excuse me, like, you seem like a ballet dancer. Are you a ballet dancer? You have such good posture and you're so stretchy, you're so bendy. Boom, that was it. Like, that was the in. She was a dancer. She loves ballet. She loved the fact that I recognized that about her. She's always wanted to be known as a ballet dancer. I did not do this to manipulate her. I did it to get an in. I did it to get close to the person. And at that point, she felt comfortable enough to kind of start talking to me. And then, she talked a little bit about herself. And then I shared a little bit about myself. And that became a one-on-one conversation. Everyone else did their own thing, but we were having a conversation on our own. Mostly, you'll notice social anxiety will creep up when you're in a group situation. But it is not necessarily that even if you're in a group, doesn't mean that you have to talk to the entire group. Even if you're in a group, you can pull a single person out of the group and speak to them directly. One-on-one situations work a billion times better for an INFJ, for an introvert, than group situations. And so every single time, no matter if I am in a major group, even if it's a huge group, I will sit next to someone that I'm comfortable with or someone that I want to get to know better. And then I will direct my questions to them directly. And then if someone else pipes in, that's great, that's awesome. But I am talking to this person right now. And that knowledge that I am in communication with this one single person and I'm talking to them and they're talking to me, that gives me a lot of peace. Even if there's 100 other people sitting around in the group, in our group, and we could potentially be talking to them, at least I'm only talking to one person at this point in time, right? As I've gotten older and I've become better at social situations, and I've done a lot of open mics, and I've done a lot of these like performing situations where I'm talking 1 to 100 or something like that, or 1 to many, I've gotten used to group situations. But even so, I am always more comfortable and always more interested in talking one-on-one with a person than talking to a big group of people. I love one-on-one conversations. You can learn a lot about this person. They can learn a lot about you. You can form deep friendships this way. In a lot of situations, I've formed really good friendships with women, men, and all in between because of the fact that I ventured out and started these one-on-one conversations. I remember another situation where I was sitting at this lunch party. It was a huge table. We were all around this huge table. There were about 20 of us. And I saw this person in front of me. She had red hair, beautiful, delicate structure, just gorgeous woman. And something about her said Irish. And I was like, I wonder if she's Irish. And so, when we had a chance to kind of eat and start a conversation, I leaned over to her and said, hey, so are you Irish by any chance? It was a random opening. It didn't mean anything. I would have said, oh, I'm sorry, I just thought you might be, if she said no. But she said, yes, my heritage is Irish, la la. And we started a conversation, right? And this has happened to me so many times. I've been at another party where there was this man who was standing extremely tall, much taller than me. And of course I had to say, hey, like, I usually am the tallest person in the party, and I am. Especially the tallest woman, but usually the tallest person as well. And then for the first time, you are taller than me. Like, this is amazing. Let's shake hands on that or something like that. And we became really good friends. He's one of my best friends now. We still know each other, right? So it is about, using your strengths. And as an INFJ, you have intuition. This is your superpower. So use it to your advantage. Learn something about this person in the few milliseconds that you see each other. Like, you're looking at them, you're like, this seems like this is what I can gauge from my intuition. Let me use that. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. In a lot of cases, actually, I would say 99% of the time I've been right, on point, whenever I've made guesses about people. And so they're always like, oh my God, how did you know? And then we start a conversation. And so I would highly recommend that you use your intuition power, gauge something about them, and then use that as an in to a one-on-one conversation. You can always bring more people into the conversation afterwards once you feel more comfortable. But as an INFJ, you're always more comfortable having a one-on-one conversation rather than a group one. It's just the way we are. We just like learning more about one single person rather than the entire group. So that is my second tip. Like, always try one-on-one rather than groups. And I'm talking about conversations, nothing else. But in general, that is one of my big tips. Finally, actually, I don't have that much time. Okay, let me end it here. If you have more questions, I have more tips for sure. And if you want me to do another video on this, then I will definitely do a second part too, about more tips, more social anxiety tips. But let me know how these two things work for you. If they make sense, if they don't make sense, try it out. Let me know if it was something easy to implement. If not, then come back to me. I'm happy to answer questions or to do more videos about this. Again, I'm really grateful that you're asking questions so I can do videos about them. Please ask more questions so I can do more videos. Otherwise, I'm ending up looking for, like, what should I do a video on? Anyways, again, thank you so much, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.